So hello, everyone. Welcome. We are so thrilled to have Deborah Razo, my friend Deborah. I've known her for quite a few years. And Deborah has a flair for fixing and flipping properties. She's a very talented lady. From purchase, rehabbing, marketing, and sale processes to tools and techniques for locating properties, analyzing market values, timely decision-making to capitalize on opportunities, crafting offers, negotiating, effective due diligence, budgeting, assembling teams, hiring contractors, staging and marketing for the sale of a property for profit. And what I like to call Deborah is the queen of real estate. So Deborah, take it away.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the Nest Egg Builders show. I really appreciate it. And, for those of you don't know this, I have known Peggy for many years, and she might consider me the queen of real estate. I consider her the godmother of real estate. Very, very well earned title. Hey, I'm going to talk to you today about my obsession, and that is rehabbing. I'm going to share my screen so I can share some slides with you. And I'm going to we don't have that long today, so I'm just going to go over a 3-step process of rehabbing and kind of just break things down and give you a general overview for those of you that are interested in rehabbing. It'll give you some tools to think about and know where to go next. But first I want to, sorry about that. My slides are not prepared. First, I want to talk to you about real estate. Like I got into real estate because I think it's sexy. Maybe here's my little real estate is sexy slide. When I first thought about delivering this talk and the crazy market that it is, but I really love it. And I think that if you're in real estate, you got to really love it. My brother is all about stocks. He's a day trader. He wanted me to follow that path, but I couldn't because I'm just not interested in watching that stock line. But get me on Zillow or Redfin and I'm there for hours, right? It's a little bit more of an obsession, looking at all of this stuff. And the really cool thing about it is 90% of millionaires become so through real estate. Even more sexy, right? Even more sexy. My name again is Deborah Razo. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I've had 4 different businesses, and I currently own and operate 2. I started real estate investing over 14 years ago. Why? Why real estate? What's in it for you? What does real estate equal? Is it riches? And I'm not just talking about money rich. I'm talking about time rich, energy rich, which in my opinion is better than money, is freedom, living life on your own terms. You see, a little over 13 years ago, I had an opportunity to start over. You know what? By the way, I want to invite you to bring up your chat because I'd love to be engaged with you. And I want to know right now, is there anybody here who's ever had an opportunity to start over? I know for any of us that have lived any amount of years, we've had this opportunity. Sometimes it comes in the form of divorce or the death of a loved one. For me, it was a car crash. It was a car accident. A tire blew in the SUV that I was in, and we ended up in the dirt by the side of the road, and the rim of the tire dug into the dirt and the car flipped. So the driver's side, it flipped on the driver's side first, and I was in the passenger seat, so I got the impact of the accident. And eventually I was air vac'd to a hospital where they had started to stitch my head wound together, and I was told I had a broken neck. Yeah. And they had to wait till the swelling went down before they would operate. And there were several operations after that. But that's when I got my titanium brace. And it took me a little over a year to heal. And during that time, I had a lot of time to think. And I thought about how short life was. And I asked myself if I was really living it the way I wanted. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't have a bad life, but what was it really what I desired? I realized that I really wasn't running a business. My business was running me. You know, I was one of those people that was an entrepreneur that created their own job. And I had heard the term passive income, and I decided that's what I wanted. Life was short. I wanted passive income. And I literally started Googling it. I'm like, okay, I need passive income. And how's that going to happen? And I wanted time to travel the world. I wanted time to be with my kids. And a lot of things come up, royalties, real estate. Oh, and real estate comes up. So I figured I got to get me some of that. And my brother, who actually was amazing during that time, he came out and he took care of me a lot during that year. And he had done a bunch of Tony Robbins events. And for those of you that don't know, Tony Robbins is a high performance coach and author. And he suggested when I was ready and when I was healed that I should go to a Tony Robbins event. And because he helps with mindset and shifting. And I did. I went to a Tony Robbins event, and I started drinking the Kool-Aid. I basically became one of his trainers. I still am one of his trainers. He flies me out to events worldwide, and I help people make transformations in their life. I continued to educate in real estate. I got a mentor. That's one of the things I learned in the Robbins organization. Accelerate your growth by getting mentors that have done what you wanted to do. Surround yourself with the right peer group. And now I've flipped a lot in Los Angeles. I'll share more about that with you. But I wanted passive income. Remember, I was laid up and I want passive income, but I didn't have any income. So I had to start somewhere. So I started flipping for that, mailbox, for that chunk money. And then with that money, I started investing in passive. So I started in Memphis, Tennessee with a small portfolio that I still have of single family homes. And then as my talents grew, as my skills grew, I started developing here in Los Angeles. We took single families and knocked them down and built fourplexes. And then I also started also investing in multifamily. And then I've got multifamilies in Arizona and in Texas. And now my partners and I just bought a multifamily in Puerto Rico that we're making into a boutique bed and breakfast over there, taking advantages of some of the tax advantages over there. In fact, we just got that online this month. I'm super happy. And then a few years ago, I founded the Women's Real Estate Network to help other women empower and grow in the real estate industry. And now I just focus my energy on partnering with investors who are seeking financial freedom through real estate. And so you're here because maybe you want to flip a house, or maybe you're drooling over those big checks. Excuse me, hold on, let me get that. Oh, why can't I? I'm trying to, here we go. Nope. Okay, there we go. So you want to flip a house. Maybe you want to flip a house and just get more information on flipping a house. That's what I'm going to give you, just a general overview of that. Basically, rehabbing a house comes in 3 steps. And those 3 steps are purchase, the rehab itself, and the sale. Now, I'm going to break down those 3 steps because each of those steps has other steps inside them. But I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm just going to focus on one of the steps in each of these areas because it'd be just way too long if I was to focus on each component of each step. So first of all, I want to talk about the purchase. Now, the purchase, what's involved in the purchase is running the numbers, finding the deals, making offers, and funding. So the purchase itself is broken down into these 4 areas. Now, running the numbers is what I find to be the most important thing. And so I'm going to concentrate on that step right now. Oh, my goodness. I am having issues with I'm going to just stop sharing real quick and do this one more time. Sorry about this, guys. Some issues with my PDF right now. There we go. There we go. Okay. So The first part is purchasing and running the numbers. Now I'm going to share with you a really simple sheet. I'm going to actually bring that up here. Share this with you. This is just like a really simple sheet. Can everybody see that? Give me some thumbs up in the chat if you guys can see that.
Yeah, it's a little small. There you go.
Is that better?
Perfect.
How's that?
Good for our old eyes.
Good. So this is just a simple sheet about how to flip, right? Property address, it's, your purchase price, your rehab costs, your total costs, what your down payment might be, what your loan amount needs to be. You've got to factor in, there's going to be some loan costs and some title and escrow costs, and that'll bring you to what your initial capital is to get into the project. Okay. Now, you need to also factor in the sale, right? So you need a projected sale price, and then the escrow costs, which I estimate at about 1%. Real estate commissions, it's usually typically 5%. It'll vary depending on what state that you're in. Some taxes and insurance, right? And the mortgage payments, 4% of the loan amount, which is what I estimate if it's going to be 4 months in the flip. Some lender's points, obviously that varies. I'm just estimating 3% right here. The loan amount, the initial capital, your total costs, and then you can figure out your net profit. And you can also figure out your cash on cash return, right? So, oh gosh, you know what? I'm so sorry. These numbers are old. This is like for a rehab, How do you figure out your rehab costs, right? Right now, it's no longer $30 a square foot for a light rehab. It's more like $40 a square foot and $65 for a medium rehab and about $80 for a heavy rehab. So when I say a light rehab, it probably means you're not doing any walls, you're doing paint, maybe flooring, you might be doing a couple bathrooms or, a kitchen, but you're not going to be doing a roof and windows and things like that. That'll be for your medium rehab. For your heavy rehab, it would be a home that maybe a collector is in. And what I mean by that is some kind of, hoarding home or something that has a lot of damage, more like it needs a roof replacement. It needs a foundation replacement. It's going to be more intense. Now, this is a really simple calculator that you can do some rough numbers in, just if you're just beginning and you want to start getting an idea of what the spread needs to be in your local area for you to actually make a profit on something. Okay. What I also have is something that's like rehabbing on steroids, right? This is let me just stop sharing that one more time and share it real quick. This is a calculator, and it's all in Excel. For those of you that are Excel lovers, you'll love this. It's a calculator, and everything in red is a variable. So I want you to put in all the things that are in red, Main Street, there's their Main Street, what the bedrooms, bath, year built is, purchase price. Now there's 4 columns for this because you might be wanting to run the numbers at a purchase price of anywhere from 200 to 275, right? So you can actually run the numbers in 4 different columns so that you can see what the initial capital is that you're needing, right? And then the sales price. Now this is use 225, using 225 as the purchase price. I'm going to use these numbers as my sales price. So I'm going to put different numbers in the sales price. Anywhere you see red is going to have different numbers. And then you're going to see your net profit, right? And here's putting the sales price using a base of 275. Like I couldn't get it at 225. I need to get it with 275. So this calculator requires a little more instruction to use, but I have a free tutorial. It's 20 minutes if you guys are interested in downloading it, and you can get this calculator for free. So let me bring up my slides, and I will get you that URL.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. Very kind and generous.
You're very welcome. Okay. I see some familiar faces here. I'm so sorry. I'm having a hard time with that particular slide or that particular PDF. So give me just a second. There we go. Now let me bring up the chat so that I can put that URL into the chat.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, this is taking me a minute. But there we go. And there it is. That's in the chat for you guys. My tech team just put that up today because I told them last week I wanted to do this. So sorry about that. So that is just the one part. That's the running numbers part of doing a purchase, right? There's the finding deals part, there's the making offers part, and the funding part. So just stand by while I fire hose some things at you. Purchasing and finding the deals. You need to do any kind of prospecting you can. If you want to do advertising, we buy ugly houses, right? You know, do some advertising, do some bandit signs, network. Go to, go to the MLS, go to agents, go to wholesalers, go to people you know, post on your Facebook, talk to everybody. Is there anybody who's in distress, who needs, relief from a house, right? That's how you find deals. Making offers. The only rule in real estate that I know that is absolute. If you don't make an offer, you don't get any real estate, okay? It's the absolute rule. So you need to make offers, get a standard contract from your attorney. If you're using an agent, use those agent contracts, know what the relevant terms are, know to leave yourself an out, whether it's an inspection out or a contingency for loan out, but know to leave yourself an out so that you've got some time to investigate the house. Funding. It's really important that you have your funding in place. I often tell my mentees, like, what if you didn't have to worry about money? Then how many offers would you put out? Right? It's going to be a lot of offers, because if you're not worried about money, you're really just worried about, making sure the deal works in the numbers. So get your money in place first, whether it's hard money or conventional money or private money, from lots, you can get your money from lots of different places, and there's lots of that money out there to be had. And what I love about using all different kinds of money is that you get to make money for all different kinds of people, whether it's your hard money lender or whether it's your private money lenders, you get to make money from them. Okay, second step is scope of work. All right, so the second step is rehabbing. Okay, so this is 3 steps in itself: scope of work, contractors, and a rehab budget. I'm going to spend a little time on scope of work here because I find that to be the most important part. All right, so scope of work is when you get into the property. I actually take my laptop on my property and I sit and I make a list of everything that needs to happen on that property. Here is an example. I'm going to get this a little bigger so that you guys can see it. Can you see that?
Barely.
Barely.
You can just see it's a long list.
It's a long list, but I'm gonna spend a little time here because I want to tell you why it's long and what I'm doing with this list. So you can see that I start with the entire house, right? This one happens to say scrape off acoustic ceiling and smooth coat where needed, right? Who's gone into those houses with the acoustic ceiling? Replace all electrical outlets, remove wallpaper where needed, replace all lighting. These are things I'm going to go through in the entire house. And then after that, I'm going to list each room, and I'm going to put specific things in each room. I'm going to put specific things in each bathroom: bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bathroom 1, bathroom 2, garage, exterior, right? I'm going to get very detailed on this. Why? Why am I getting so detailed on this? I'm going to tell you why. Because I am going to have multiple contractors come out and bid this. Now, how can I compare apples to apples unless they all have the same sheet and know what they're bidding off of? This is what puts you in control of the bids and the estimates, right? Because if you just have a contractor come in and look around, he's going to go, oh, you need to do this, and oh, you need to do that. And so one contractor's bid is not going to match another contractor's bid. If you dictate to that contractor exactly what you want to have done, you should be comparing apples to apples. You guys got that? Then what do I put at the end? Because I want to establish price to include what the contractor buys. What is owner to buy? That's what I put in there. I happen to always buy all my appliances. That's going to be on owner's going to buy list. I want my contractor to buy all the rough materials, all the decor switches, the baseboards, the moldings, the ceiling fans, the smoke detectors. Yes, I do get this detailed. Yes, the contractor needs to know what he's responsible for buying in the bid. What else does he need to know? My additional requirements. Haul out the debris lightly, leave the house neat and clean, nothing left outside in front of the house overnight. Why is that? Because I don't want any complaints from the neighbors, right? You know, accommodate our special office needs within the house. A lot of times I set up a desk. That desk sometimes looks like a door that's been torn off and sitting up between two pieces of other wood, but that's my desk, right? That's where I'm going to sit, you know. Oh, and I also say be on site at least once a day until you're finished, right? How many people know that contractor isn't always on site? You put it in, you put that in, right? You want to get them in the frame of mind that this is how I want to run the job. This is how it's going to be run, right? Now, owner is going to choose these things, right? I'm going to choose the lighting. I'm going to choose the front door. I'm going to choose the garage door. How does that work? I go to my contractor after I've hired him and I say, you bid for the garage door. Give me your budget. And if there's a preferred vendor, tell me where to go pick it out, right? So we're all staying on the same budget. All staying on the same budget all the time. So I find that the scope of work is really important. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that. What else is important? Keeping track of the budget. I mean, every time you pay somebody, you got to put it. And you know, and what do? It's not fancy. I start a spreadsheet and I start keeping track of every penny I pay. If I went to Home Depot, if a contractor's submitting receipts to me, if I'm paying out the contractor, if I have to pay a landscaper separately, if I have to do, permits, anything separate, it all goes into my spreadsheet. And I keep track of a running budget because I need to know that I'm staying on budget for the project. Otherwise, it goes out of control and you don't make the money that you want at the end.
So do you ask for a receipt from your contractor or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, most of the time, I'll just, I'll say this, contractors contracts, for one thing, are a thing in themselves. I always have tiered payments. We agree, okay, after you do your demo, I'll give you a certain amount to start and then a certain amount after demo, maybe a certain amount after rough electrical and rough plumbing is in. We have a tier. We agree on that before we start the project. And I always leave some at the end so that I can make sure that all their finishing work is done and that, all of my punch list is done. So that's how I keep track. I'm always keeping track of my budget. I always have a running budget. And if there's ever any confusion, I sit down with the contractor and go, okay, let's work this out. Are you not recording the same thing I'm recording, or did I record something differently? When you have big jobs, where your budgets are 150 to 300,000, like that can happen. So you just keep on top of it. You keep having these, regular meetings and a good open discussion with your contractor about all of that. This is what a mentor once told me, and I'm just going to share it with you. She told me that there's a contractor trifecta: fast pace, great quality, great price, pick two. Sometimes you're going to have either a fast pace and great quality, but the price is going to be high. right? Sometimes there might be great quality and great price, but boy, are they going to be slow, right? She pre-framed me to thinking, nobody is going to have fast, great quality and a great price. Know that there's going to be, strengths and weaknesses to your contractor, and know that you're going to need to work around whatever that is, so I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, we're into the third step of rehabbing, and that's the sale. To be honest with you, this is the hardest step for me. Why is it the hardest step? Because it's mostly not in my control, which just drives me crazy. Now I put this beautiful product out on the market and I'm like, come on, people, buy it. Anyway, it really requires 3 different subsets. One is agent screening, another is negotiation, and then the other is paying everybody and cashing your check, right? That's the best part. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on agent screening and getting the right agent for the right deal. Okay, because that's really important. And negotiation and paying everybody else is things that you can investigate on your own. Agent screening, the right thing for the right deal. I'm just going to show you what I do. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to show you one of my little hacks that I do, and that is I go on Zillow. And I check out what is the agent that's the closer in that city. How do I do that? Here we go. Nope, whoops, stop sharing that. I want to share this. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be audience participation. You have a rehab that you just finished doing, and what is the zip code of that rehab? I'm going to take whoever's in the chat giving me a zip code. Give me a zip code, somebody.
91106.
Oh, okay, 91106. Oops, agent finder. Go to your agent finder. You're going to go to 91106. And you are going to search. There we go. Real estate agents in 91106. All right. You're going to go down here and you're going to start looking at these real estate agents. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for somebody who is doing a lot of work and in my area and selling the type of house that I'm selling at the price point that I'm going for, right? What I'm ultimately looking for is the largest closer of my type of home in that area. You see? So I'm just going to click on Andy here. He's got several reviews. So I'll click on Andy and see what he's about, right? So he's got 2 other people working for him. He has 171 listings, right? Cumulatively. Right now, he has 1 for sale. Okay, it's a 2-1 and it's 990,000. He has 2 for rent, and then he has the solds. Look at the solds, right? Now he's all over the board in the solds. He brought the buyers for the 3 million and the 1.8 million. All right, and it looks like he has a lot of solds, right? And I'm also going to look at how many he's sold this year. I want an active agent, right? So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to go, okay, Andy looks pretty good. Who else do we have, right? And you'll find teams of people in here. So, you've got to kind of try to discern whether it's an actual person that's driving up that score, whether it's the team that's driving up that score. Here's Elmer. He's got 2,500 views. Geez, Elmer, what are you doing? Well, okay, he's got a team under him, right? He's got 22 years experience. Look at all the listings. Look, he's all over the map as far as listings. Look, he's got 29 for sale right now. Okay. So, if you want a team working your project, which you have to interview the team, then, you've got to know that he's got a lot here. And look, they're all mid-range. So if I had a mid to high range house, I might want him. and you can see how many closes he's had. These are his solds, how many solds he's had this year. You can find out, more. So it's your way of finding out if you want to have an interview with this guy. Do you see where I'm going with that, everybody? So you want to get the right agent for the right product. And, sometimes, that could be you. If you are already an agent, then you have to decide if you're the best person to sell it. I am an agent. I'm with eXp Realty, and I have sold my own homes, and I have hired people to sell my homes. I have been smart enough to know when I am not the person in that market to sell that house. I don't only flip in LA, I expand depending on where the deal comes in from, but I'll give you an example. I was flipping a house in Northern California up in Cambria, and that wasn't the house for me to market. I needed the hot closer in that market to do that house, right? Because I don't want it sitting long, right? And if you're interested in finding out more about EXP, go to renexp.com, and we'll have a chat about that if you're interested in joining our team. Oh, and the other thing is, I wanted to let you guys know that we do have a mentoring program. Courtney Jones and I, who is a 30-year veteran of this crazy industry, is put on a mentoring program. It's 12 weeks. It's concentrating on getting you into action. We are not so much as teaching, but we're getting you into action. Why is that? Because what I said is true earlier. You can't get any projects if you don't put in any offers. Tony Robbins says that 80%, that business is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics, right? I can sit and I can teach you how to write an offer in 20 minutes. But does that mean you're going to go out and make 10 offers this week? No, that's all mindset. And that's what we're mentoring towards. We're mentoring towards getting you into action so that you actually get projects. So if you're interested, go to that landing page and find out more about it. And this is me. Deborah Razo. If you want to make a phone call with me, go to deborahrazo.com and schedule something. If you're a woman out there and you're interested in joining a community of other like-minded women, go to Ren Inspires or joinren.com. And this is my personal information. If you're interested in contacting me. Okay, did I do all that in less than 20 minutes? Because it doesn't feel like.
I know we had that conversation ahead. Yeah, you were just straight at about 30 minutes.
I really tried to make it quick for you, but I really also wanted to leave time for question and answer. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
And the question is, so you have a contractor, and the contractor is, you sold the property, now you have a buyer that's moved in. What happens if they say there's something wrong or something needs to be repaired?
Yeah, I will go back and repair it. I encourage all my buyers to get inspections so that everybody is on the same page about, these are rehabs, they're not ground up construction, so, there are things that, even if I'm spending 4 or 5 months on a property can miss, right? Because I'm not living there, right? And here's the long and short of it. This is someone's home. And if I get I'll just tell you, I sold a house just recently. I think that was in March, for a first-time home buyer. And I don't usually give the people their keys. That's usually handled by somebody else. But because of circumstances, I ended up having to go over and give the keys to this guy. And it was him and his wife and his little girl. And he was so thrilled to be in this house. And he was like, I've been looking for a long time. I'm so happy to be here. We're so excited about living here. And I drove away from that and I thought, this is super cool, right? I made my investors money. I hired contractors and they made money. And now this first-time home buyer is getting this house and super excited to be there. If they had a problem, I hope they call me. There's nobody on my team that is looking to shaft anybody,
Yep.
and this is a person's home, and once again, I had a mentor that mentored me, like, if you see something that needs to be done, do it. Because as a rehabber, you see a lot, and sometimes you have to choose, on your budget about what to do. If it's really vital to the house, you really need to do it. That's all there is to it. Good work. That's it.
Exactly. Thank you. Jonna.
Hey, Deb. I've got two questions, but I wanted to thank you for walking us through that agent finder on Zillow. I found that quite beneficial.
Nice little tip there, huh?
Yeah. And one of my questions is related to that. Do you have a good source for contractors, for finding contractors?
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. No, I don't. I will tell you this. I have found contractors everywhere, and I look everywhere. Now, why? Because I have a scope of work. I mean, that I swear that scope of work has saved me so many times, because whenever a contract, I'll look on Yelp, I'll look on Craigslist, I'll look in Home Depot at the business cards that are posted on Home Depot. I look everywhere, and I don't recommend this. I've done this a couple times. They hate it. When I ask contractors to be on the property all at the same time, and I walk them all through them together, and I hand out their scopes of work, they don't like it. It's highly competitive, but sometimes it's a time saver for me. I will do 2 days that I'm walking contractors through with the scope of work, and that's all I do. I line up contractor after contractor after contractor, and there have been so many times I can't tell you that I'm hitting it off with the contractor. He seems he knows what he's doing, and crickets when it comes to even actually giving a bid, right? So it's a numbers game, and so you've got when they see that you're prepared with the scope of work, they know that they have to come back with a real bid, right? And you have to get that from a number of different people. For me, I think that there are retail contractors who are going to work for the homeowner on a one-off bathroom remodel, and then there are contractors that work more with people like me. They're going to want repeat business. They're going to, maybe, they have a few really strong, electricians and plumbers on their team. And so they want to keep them in the rough electrical and plumbing area. And then they have some other people, so there's a variety, there's a scope of contractors out there. So mine is just meet as many as you can and take that scope of work with you. And yeah. Okay, thanks. And then my other question is,
so that was quite an inflation in the square footage, but I think that I think it's true. And do you think that we're going to see that receding back?
Yeah. Just the fact of the matter is cost of goods have gone up, and it's just amazing to me. Like every time I turn around, I mean, I have, people who've been selling me cabinets for years, who, okay, their price has gradually been going up. The tile prices are going up, right? And I don't know where it's going to go in the future. And you can just take your best guess at how to estimate the costs of things, but also just remember that you've got to leave enough in that profit that if something does happen, that you can pay for it and you're still getting out with something, you see, you know what I mean? So, bid accordingly,
Thank you.
Get inspections. Like I get inspections done all my houses. I want to know what somebody else's thoughts are. I mean, I can see things for myself now because I've been doing it long enough, but I still get inspections. I don't climb under houses or in the attics. That's a no for me. I hired that out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Clip.
Deborah, very good presentation. It's a lot of details that you have in there. So it seems that you're a very detail-oriented person. So I would think that when someone is going out and doing what you're doing, they would want to, if they're not a detail-oriented person, have that detail-oriented person on their team because there's too many things that could really fall through the cracks if they don't.
Well, thanks for thinking that I'm detail oriented, because I don't, I feel I wing a lot. I think my details are like, I want it all to end up in this general area. And here's that general area. There's still a lot that gets winged on a day-to-day basis. This is real estate.
Well, you've got a pretty good process documented.
Yeah.
We had a question that was from the audience. This is from Jordan, and she wants to know, how are you acquiring properties out of state? And also, do you hire a property manager for those out of state properties?
Right. Okay. So, yes. So, I'll go the progression so that, it's a learning curve, right? So I flipped a couple houses. I had some money, and then I researched where the best cash flowing opportunities were at that time, and Memphis and Indianapolis came up. There's several of those kind of cities that came up, and I decided to go to Memphis and investigate. And because I had never been a landlord before, my first 2 houses that I bought were turnkey. So what is turnkey? It means somebody in that market is picking up a property that's going to be rehabbed. It's rehabbed, put into shape. They put a renter in it, and they're basically selling you that stream income. But because I didn't know how that system worked, that was good for me. I was still like learning, and my skills were still getting better, right? And then my rehabbing skills got better and better. And then I was feeling more confident about being able to pick a market and choose houses in that market. So then I actually started buying foreclosures and then going into that market and rehabbing rent ready. So now I was not moving walls. I was just doing like flooring and paint and light rehab. Right? Because I'm putting together a team real quick when I'm out there and I'm getting stuff done. And then, so I started doing things like that. And then because I didn't have that much experience with property managers, I did something a little crazy. And that is, there was one point at which I had 5 houses and 4 property managers. I had a different property manager on almost every house. Why did I do that? Well, guess what? They all managed differently. They all had different contracts for me to sign. And I just thought, okay, I'm learning to do this, and I need to see a wide spectrum of how these group of people do it so that I could figure out how to manage a manager or what they were supposed to do. Like, this manager was really great at maintenance, and this manager was really great at lease up, and what are they doing different than them, and oh, I'm having a manager that is having problems with lease up, so I take the ideas from the manager with the great lease up team, and I give them to the manager that I have problems with, right? And I'm learning in that whole process. So, and it's still a learning process. I mean, you have to teach your managers what it is you expect. Now, there happens to be a lot of people who go into Memphis and buy something and just leave it be and, get their monthly reports. And I'm not one of those. I'm an active investor. I let my property managers know I'm an active investor. If there's an issue with the property, you're going to hear back from me within 24 hours. And I'm going to ask questions on the report. And if I get a new water heater, you're going to need to send me a picture, because I love pictures of my new water heaters. It's trust and verify. It's trust and verify. And when you come into a situation and you teach your property manager that that's who you are and that's what you're going to do, then they expect that. And, the other thing I'm just going to give a tip on is that this is long distance relationship building. It's relationship building. You hear that all the time in real estate. Real estate is all about relationships. This is long distance relationship building. So baby, you better give good phone. That's all I've got to say. I make a joke of it, but that's the truth. If I'm talking to somebody that I have to talk to for all of my property maintenance, I'm going to say, how's your son? How's your daughter? Oh, by the way, did they graduate high school? Oh, what's going on? This is long distance relationship building. And so you really need to make a concentrated effort on that.
I have a comment on that. And that is, the people I know that are owners of properties talk to their manager every day. It might not be a long conversation, but it's every day. And we're not talking single family, but it doesn't matter whether it's single or whether it's units. They want to know what's going on with the property. They want to know if something happened. They just want an update.
Well, I'll tell you, when I'm onboarding a new property manager, it's a weekly thing. Like, oh, okay. And at the end of the conversation, objectives. Okay, so you're going to take care of this week. You're going to take care of that this week. Okay, then, well, I should have pictures during the week or whatever, and then we'll meet back here next week, right? Because they're getting used to who I am as what I expect. And so, it's a constant relationship building.
Great. Before we go to Cliff, I want to know, I know that I see some women on here that I know are part of REN. So raise your hand if you're a REN member. Yay. Thank you very, very much for coming. We really appreciate it. We know Kathy is too. So go ahead, Cliff, ask a question.
This question is also a response from Jordan again. She says, great info, Deborah. So you go to the state, have your fill out your spreadsheet. Do you stay the whole time till the home is rehabbed and rented, or rent it out and not come back again?
Okay, so when I was doing light rehab and picking up foreclosures, I would have someone, I would usually have a boots on the ground person. Now, where have I found those? Sometimes it's been through a real estate agent, like actually most of the time one time it was through a handyman, and most of the other times it was through a real estate agent. There's an active agent in that, area. I will talk to them. I'll say, would you be interested in a little side work? And that is, taking some pictures for me, and I'll be in town. And then when I leave, I might leave some checks for you to distribute as soon as you've checked work. Right. So I have them take pictures for me, and I do pre-work from wherever I am. So if I need painters, if I need flooring, I'm doing all that pre-work before I go out there. And I'm also setting up appointments. So I land and I've got appointments all set up that next day. Right. So I pre-work, setting up appointments. I land, I get all the appointments. I tell them, hey, I need, this is a fast job. I need to get this rented as soon as possible. I need the bids back ASAP, and I need somebody who's available for work. Right? Because my intent in being there a week is to get somebody chosen and started, get them their first payments, and start the whole process. Now, then whoever is my boots on the ground can come in and do snapshots of progress. Or if a vendor says they're finished, the painter raises his hand, says I'm finished, she can check that, and I've left her with a check to give to him. So that's how I've worked. And sometimes like I said, it's an agent, sometimes it's a handyman. It's somebody who is willing to help and willing to be involved in the process, and I do pay them as well.
Thank you. Jordan, anything else? Are you a part of REN? That's a good question.
Seriously, Jordan, these are great questions.
They are great questions.
Go to joinren.com.
Absolutely, because there's not just one person to support. There's how many are in your how many are in the group now?
Yeah, I don't know, like
100?
Hundreds, yeah.
100. So, and all over the country too. So
Yeah.
Almost wherever you are, there'll be somebody you can pick up the phone and call like that. Yeah, Jordan's got her hand raised again.
Oh, wow. I just had one more question. So do you think for new investors, is the turnkey the best way to go because there's less rehab? And have you held the turnkey this whole time still, or have you sold out on the turnkey properties?
Sure, great question. I have one that I bought at that time. Now, I got to tell you, I was new to buy and hold real estate. And so when I went in, there's a lot of different types of real estate you can buy. For those of you that are familiar with, A class, B class, C class, D class real estate, like it's like shopping, A class is shopping at Nordstrom's. It's, higher end real estate for, B class is Target, C class is the dollar store, D class is the dollar store, C class is Walmart, right? It's a variety of different kinds of real estate. Well, you look at, say, a C class property, which is what I was buying at first. You look at a C class property and it's usually a little higher margin, but a lot of times it's a higher turnover rate. And so you're looking at more rent readies. And it's a person who maybe if their car breaks down, they can't afford rent, right? Like they're having to make those types of choices, where with an A class property, you're looking at a different type of person. Maybe they're mid-level management, maybe they're waiting for a home, they're saving for a home, they're going to call you because their garage door opener is not working, right? So, you've got different people in different types of properties. When I first went in, I bought my first two at C class properties. And what I learned was, like, this is just me, and this is, I think, a personal decision for anybody, is that, I was looking at my buy and holds. I wanted that passive income. I wanted it steady. I didn't want to have to deal with a lot of turnovers. And I didn't want to have to deal with, oh, you know what, this person isn't paying rent, and now we're going to have to evict again. Now, even though my margins were higher on a monthly basis, they were less even, right, on a yearly basis. So I chose at that point to only buy B class properties. So that's where most of my buy and holds are. They're in the B class. So I released a couple of my C classes, and I made B classes. And that's what I hold now.
Great. Thank you, Jordan. Lovely question. Really thank you for that. We are going on the top of the hour. Is there any last question anyone has? Courtney, by any chance? You're muted, Courtney.
No.
Courtney's in New York, so he's visiting. So that's great. We love having people all over the country. How about Chris? Chris is an expert at multifamily, so he's probably done many make-readies like that. So any other questions? Well,
so I talked a long time, and we're still going to get out of here on time. That's pretty good.
Oh, yes. Yvonne, you have a question? Or are you just waving goodbye? Just waving goodbye. Okay, well, Deborah, thank you so very much for coming.
Great job, Deb.
I enjoyed you being here, and we'd love to have you come back again.
All right, and I'm putting my contact information in the chat if anybody wants to contact me, and a couple of those URLs that I mentioned. Oh, whoops! I just sent them to Cliff only.
Oh, okay. Well, you put them in, and they can pick them up.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.